Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Tommy, and with me,
it's Roman.
And today we are sat, as the British would say, in our Comanche.
Yeah, we've had this in storage for way too long, Tommy. And what a beautiful Saturday morning to take it for where?
We're taking it to our local Cars and Coffee in Lafayette, Colorado, and we're bringing it here because a lot of you out there were wondering what happened to this truck because it's been off the channel for a few months. Had it been sold, had it moved on to a new owner, and we're happy to say it hasn't.
No, we're not selling this bad boy. It's too much fun and it's too hard to replace. I have to say, it's one of my favorite vehicles that we've ever done, Tommy. It's just such a cool little truck.
Yeah, it sure is. So if you're new to the Comanche series, this is a, oh man, I'm blanking. I think it's an 88, right?
Yep, 88.
88 Jeep Comanche, short bed, four-wheel drive, and it's a Pioneer, and it's pretty much all original on the outside, at least it appears that, but we've done quite a lot of work to it. So the first thing we did was the suspension.
Yeah, we had gotten together with our friends at Terraflex.
Yep.
And they made some custom springs. They put on basically what they do for a TJ on the front.
Yep, it's got their new Falcon shocks.
Yeah, we got like a 2-inch lift on it. Then our friends over at BFG sent us some BFGs.
Yep, mud terrain. So we're running 33-inch KM3s, which are probably a little bit too big for this truck because it certainly likes to...
No such thing. The bigger the better.
Yeah, okay. And then we have a brand new exhaust system on this truck. So it's got MagnaFlow exhaust, which make the 4-liter sound really good.
Whoops. There we go. Yeah, and promptly melted that very hard to replace bumper on the back. That was not so good, Tommy.
That was not so good.
We'll show you.
Yep, and then the transmission is the legendarily terrible Peugeot B810 unit. And we bought this truck, it was really crunching badly, so we had it totally rebuilt.
Yeah, and we shouldn't have. We should have replaced it with the AX15.
Yes, because second gear is already a little bit crunchy again.
So lesson learned there. Sometimes keeping things original is not the way to go. This was a bad transmission from the factory, and it's a bad transmission now.
Yeah.
But it is original, so. It
is original, and like I said, most of the outside of the truck looks pretty much all original. So it's got the original red paint, the original Pioneer graphics on the side, the all original interior. We sourced an original radio. Remember, it had a horrible broken aftermarket thing.
Yeah, I'll show you guys. We actually put in an original radio from one of the well, they made a lot of these, right?
Right.
This is
probably a Cherokee radio.
Yeah, it's probably a Cherokee.
But the Comanche's interesting. Nowadays with the Gladiator, the Jeep is such a lifestyle truck, but it wasn't like that back in the day.
Yeah, most of these were two-wheel drive, Tommy.
Yeah.
We were very lucky to find one of the four-wheel drive ones.
And long beds, too.
And long beds, yeah. So we found that kind of unicorn truck, which is a four-wheel drive short bed, which was original, and basically a farm truck, it looked like, right? It looked like it lived its life on a farm somewhere.
Yeah, that's what we were told. Very low owner example from Colorado.
And how many miles?
108,000.
Let's face it, a lot of these were used up, right? They were kept outside, where they rusted.
Well, they were work trucks.
They were work trucks, yeah. So it'd be hard to replace this. I'm going to hold this camera because we're almost at Cars and Coffee. I want to show you guys what it looks like. It's here in Lafayette, Colorado.
And it is January, so I'm not expecting a huge turnout. Now, we haven't really been driving this truck for a couple reasons this winter. Mostly because of condition and rust. And old Jeeps just love rust, and we just want to keep this one nice.
Let's go look. Here it is. Cars and Coffee.
You gonna take a little drive through?
Yeah, take a little drive through. Show them. And then we'll do a little walkthrough. I see Cummins.
Yeah, this is a huge show in the
spring and summer.
Spring and summer, just a massive show.
Yeah, not now though. Let's park it and let's do a walk around, Tommy. What do you say?
Sure.
Yeah. There's a Tacoma. But you could park it straight through that little spot, or is that? This is such a little truck, it actually might fit. Show them how we melted our bumper.
Yeah.
There are like two things that are hard to replace on a Comanche. What's that, Tommy?
Three things.
Three things. What are the three things?
You can't buy bumpers, you can't buy taillights, and you can't buy short bed bars.
So I don't know about your Cars and Coffee, but there's like little communities of people that set up tent here. So the cool thing is you got everything from like Miatas to Vipers. But even the cooler thing is, like, you know, all the Toyota guys go together and all the Focus RS guys come together, and you see some of the craziest cars out here that you normally don't ever see on the road. Like, I just saw a lifted Vehicross Isuzu. You know, Tommy, that's crazy. When do you see one of those on the road, especially lifted? You know, I'm looking at this car, Tommy. You know why?
Yep.
The 300ZX Turbo. I actually had one of these cars. That was before the 300ZX Twin Turbo. This was, well, a great GT. Not so great around a curb. But yeah, I had it. I'm dating myself. It was a okay car, you know, not one that I would want to buy again. Especially not for $6,000. It's a lot of money. You know, this Beetle might be my favorite thing here. I mean, it's just the right color, the convertible, it's done upright, you know, it's original. It's pulling at my heart.
So this right here is one of the biggest trends in the off-road world now, lifted Lexus GXs, and these make great platforms for off-road rigs. Abroad they're known as the Toyota Land Cruiser Prado, very modifiable, a lot of aftermarket support now, very reliable. Typically they have like a 4.7 liter V8, and there are two different generations. This one is a first generation, known as the Lexus GX 470. But very well made. This one looks like it has a set of TRD wheels on it. I think those are the Metal Tech rock sliders. Yeah, really nice little build there.
One finger? Yeah, that's about an inch, maybe a half an inch off the ground. God help any pregnant ants walking around. They're gonna get hellcatted. I made a mistake. Poor ants are not going to get hellcatted. They're going to get scat-packed, if there's such a thing as being scat-packed. Look at the louvers. Are those like new school louvers? What do you guys think of these? Look at that.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Tommy, I see your favorite vehicle. It's right there. It's a French vehicle that you love.
Yeah, that's right, Dad. This is a 1972 Citroën DS, or DS, which stands for Goddess in French. And this was a super unique car sold throughout the late 50s, 60s, and 70s. Hydro pneumatic suspension, so this car can raise and lower itself something like 14 inches. Kind of like an air suspension on steroids, but you've got the high mounted turn signals there in the rear. Very active safety back in the day. Citromatic transmission, which was this crazy clutchless transmission there. You can see on top of the steering wheel. Supposed to use the top of your fingers to shift 1, 2, 3, and 4. Really unique design. You can actually run this car on 3 wheels if you get a flat tire in the rear. Really nice design. Steerable headlights on the European models. Awesome.
Now, if I were to get a Z, it would be this one, this generation, the 300ZX Twin Turbo. I had one in that same color, 92. Of course, T-tops. I don't think I'd get the convertible. They were very rare, but they were slower. But yeah, this is the one that probably pulls at my heart more than the other one. This was a great car. I actually took it on the Autobahn and did 176, fastest I've ever gone. And I had snow tires, probably the stupidest thing I've ever done. Now this is a license plate I can get behind. You know why? 6.7, right? Show them the truck.
Yeah, that's way cool. This is a Super Duty with the Power Stroke 6.7 liter diesel. That's very clever. Oh, look, a Typhoon.
Yeah, we got a Typhoon too.
Way cool.
Yeah. Once again, back in the day when GM was doing some pretty interesting stuff. First the Buick, and then of course the GMC Typhoon. Those were really two hot rods for their day.
And the Cyclone.
And actually this is really cool too, right?
Yeah, 325
iX. Yeah, you don't see those anywhere but here in Colorado. The all-wheel drive 3 Series from that generation was really cool. And what was their fatal flaw, Tommy? You know what it was. It was that drive shaft.
Yeah, so the front prop shaft went straight to the oil pan. So to, for example, work on the bottom end of the engine or change out the oil pan gasket, you had to do a lot of disassembly of the front driveline.
Yeah, but yeah, this is Truckville area of Cars and Coffee. I like it. Look at that, both generations of the MR2, but what do I spy with my little eye? I think I spy a lifted H2T. Those are pretty rare, they're pretty expensive, and this thing is pretty tall. Let me show them. This definitely wins the biggest tires here at Cars and Coffee. I mean, look at those. Not only are they tall, but they're wide. Yeah, you know, GM was building some pretty crazy cars back in the day, and this was probably the craziest truck they ever built. And when you lift it, it just looks like a toy. Look at it.
Yeah.
So H2s go around, what, $15,000 nowadays? But the truck version, even though I call it a truck with huge air quotes because the bed is, you know, about big enough to hold an average size golden retriever, those go for a premium. So this, if it were stock and not lifted and done up, probably be a $25,000 truck, which is pretty incredible for something that's this old. Hey Tommy, is that a Toyota or is that a Lexus? Because to my eye it looks like a Lexus LS, but look what the badge says.
Toyota Celsior.
What's a Celsior?
I think it's a Japanese market LS.
I think it's right-hand drive.
Yep.
That's pretty unusual. This seems to be the Subaru tribe that we've entered into here, Tommy. I see a lot of pretty cool Subis. Let's just show them. But is it? All right, Tommy, so what's your favorite car here? I know what your favorite truck is. What's your favorite car here?
My favorite car was probably that old DS, the 21.
Yeah.
That was really cool, really innovative and in nice shape too.
Yeah, that's pretty eclectic. And I love the old Beetle just because it's completely original and because it's gone away. How sad is that? But what's your favorite truck?
Definitely the Comanche here.
Yeah, me too.
Well, as always, this is Tommy.
And Roman saying thanks for watching. Remember, check out TFL Classics for more news, views, and old car reviews. See you guys next time. Ciao. Whoops. There we go.